Hello racing fans and welcome to our Gallop TV Preview Show. We are previewing Saturday the 28th at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth in the Western Cape. It is a double header this Saturday, so there's lots to play for you, the valued racing fan, and I trust that you've all had a wonderful Christmas and enjoying the holidays if you are on holidays, and looking forward to bringing in the new year. Just having a look at the card before we say hi to Graham Hawkins, who's waiting on the line. There are 9 races carded. The first race will begin at 12:35. The exotics will begin in race number 2, which will be the Bipot at 13:10. And if you want to play the big one, which has been exceptionally difficult to catch down in the Western Cape, that will begin at 14:20, 20 past 2, race number 4. Said Graham Hawkins is waiting on the line. I've just wished him off air. And Graham, how's Christmas been for you and the family, and all the very best?
Very quiet, Dee's family time, but it's been a wonderful couple of days. And yes, from my side, compliments of the season to all of our viewers, stroke listeners, and we're looking forward to welcoming 2025. We're only a week away from the Lawmerins Kings Plate, so we're going to get 2025 off to a real quality start from a South African horse racing perspective.
It hasn't been easy down in the Western Cape, just judging about the results of late, so hopefully the wheel does turn on this Saturday. Let's begin, Graham. Race number 1 will be a maiden juvenile plate over 1,000 meters, and as we bring up the field, give you some betting with horses in single figures, as we always do. A first timer from the Justin Snate stable called Absolutely Yes, number 3, is at 4-1. Number 4, Music of the Night, is at 22-10. Then we got number 6, New World, at 4-1. And number 8, Good For You, Glenn Cotson's runner, at 22-10. Graham, this horse, Good For You, I was, should I say, the horse caught my eye first up, considering that he was a bit green in the early stages of the race. Number 8, Good For You.
Well, Good For You has at least had a run under the belt, and as you say, it was a promising effort when third behind Orbit. Should step up from that and be a little bit more street-wise. Bred to perhaps want a little bit further, as is the case with the other raced runner, number 4, Music of the Night, as you've just mentioned. They share favoritism at 22-10. Music of the Night was beaten only 2 lengths by Wild Green. That was a softly run juvenile race. We'll have to see how the form works out. But obviously both Music of the Night and Good For You have had the experience of a run. But I'm interested in the 2 newcomers, especially number 6, New World. From the second crop of the sensational One World, trained by Greg Enion, will be ridden by Corne Orfer. They've struck up a wonderful partnership, and positive comments coming through. Nice colt, shows good pace. So while Good For You and Music of the Night have shown some promise, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the first-timers were to win this. Absolutely, yes. Perhaps bred for slightly further, but certainly JP van der Merwe and Justin Snaith are in pretty good form. So I can't be of too much help here. At the moment, New World is quite easy to back. Watch the market as we approach race time. We have seen plenty of swings and roundabouts in terms of the betting, particularly here in the Western Cape, on track from the anti-post market. Many changes over the last couple of meetings, and they've often been a very good indicator as to what to expect. So I'm expecting a very good debut effort from number 6, New World, but obviously the experience of a run does stand both numbers 4, Music of the Night, and 8, Good For You, in good stead.
I must agree with Graham that once he speaks about betting in the Western Cape, well, I must say all around the country, when they drift, they never seem to arrive. So that is the indicator. Horses that are fancied anti-post, but no money race time, they seem to be no-show. Race number 2, Bipot, 1,800 meters is the distance, Graham. This is where the exotics will begin. Number 2, Cholima, is at 4-1. Then we go on to number 3, which is Green Mandarin, at 8-1. Horse number 4, Furluapiki, is at 7-1.5. Give Me More Time at 11-2. Number 6, Omikami, is at 7-2, and 7, Song of the Moon, is at 13-10. Graham, it does point to the horse that's in form, that's on a hat trick now, called Song to the Moon. But I must just give you some information on this horse called Omikami. The reason I say this is because Lucinda Woodruff has been giving Serena Mundi a few chances if he travels down to the Western Cape. And she really wanted him to come down for this race meeting, Graham, and in particular for this filly, Omikami, who I'm told is doing exceptionally well back home, and added to the fact that the stable's in good form. So whilst I like number 7, Song to the Moon, I must say that number 6, Omikami, has to be respected.
No doubt about it that number 6, Omikami, is, put it this way, the mystery horse in the race. She is a filly. She's taking on a year-older gelding, Song to the Moon, who, as you said, is in terrific form. She does receive 7 kilograms, but she's still not that well in at weight for age. But 7 kilos is nonetheless 7 kilos. She's a lot less experienced than Song to the Moon. She won on debut over 1,200 meters at big odds. Her subsequent 2 runs have not been too bad. Last time out, she finished strongly over 1,600 meters, when 4th under 2 lengths behind Hampstead Heath. She steps up another 200 meters in this race. Song to the Moon does appear to have most of his rivals safely held. Chadima, Gimme More Time, Little Mandarin. If you go back to the run on the 16th of November, there's no reason why any of those 3 runners should reverse the form with Song to the Moon. He's a very, very good-looking, imposing, scopy 4-year-old son of What a Winter. He's getting better with every run. Clearly, the pace is always a bit of a worry when you've only got 7 runners in an 1,800-meter race, but I have no doubt that if there's no early pace, Richard Ferree will waste no time in making use of number 7, Song to the Moon's actions and go to the front. So the only possible danger that I can see is the one that you've referred to, the 3-year-old filly by Global View, number 6, Omikami, because she's relatively unexposed. There's a lot of upside, but I'm very, very strongly in the camp of number 7, Song to the Moon. I think this race is his for the taking. I think he'll complete his hat-trick, and at this stage of her career, prove a little too strong for number 6, Omikami, despite the fact that he has to give her 7 kilograms. So I'm very happy to bank the number 7, Song to the Moon, in the opening leg of the Bipot, which is my bet of choice. I'm expecting a very, very good run from number 6, Omikami. We'll see exactly what she's all about when she takes on Song to the Moon in this 1,800-meter contest.
But it looks like a nice exacta plate, either straight line, as Graham mentioned, 7/6, or if you're not convinced with number 7, then possibly a nice boxed exacta there in race number 2. So we move along to the place accumulator. It's over 1,400 meters. It's a maiden plate for fillies and mares. Number 1, Blind Ambition, is at 4-1. Then we got number 2, Beautiful Side, which is at 8-1. Horse number 4 is trading at 7-1. Number 5 at 4-1. Number 6, Louis Star, is at 5-1. And 7, Sheets and Goggles, is 14-10. Graham, is the right horse at the top of betting boards here? You know, considering that the horse has been fairly consistent, but 14-10. What's your thoughts on number 7?
Look, this race is going to be her easiest opportunity ever to shed a maiden ticket. She is entitled to be at the top of the boards by virtue of the fact that the opposition doesn't amount to much. So she's got to be a clear-cut first choice. There are a number of thin races on this card, and then later on in the day, a number of very competitive races. So structuring your bets correctly and hopefully getting away with it is going to be key to whether you end up on the plus side or the minus side on this 9-race program at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. I tried to find something that could be a threat to number 7, Sheets and Goggles. As I say, I don't really like to make a good thing of a filly just by virtue of the fact that she's the best of a moderate lot. But it's hard to oppose number 7, Sheets and Goggles. I like the fact that she's stepping up to 1,400 meters as she did last time when third to Russian Royale. We still got to see whether that form stands up. It's interesting to note that on the 26th of October, but that was back at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, when running behind Pink Pigeon, number 6, Louis Star, actually finished ahead of number 7, Sheets and Goggles. So I guess on that form line, you could say that number 6, Louis Star, will be not too far away from number 7, Sheets and Goggles. I think that number 7, Sheets and Goggles, I've banked it also in the second leg of the Bipot. I think she shapes up as a place accumulator banker. And quite honestly, if she can't win a race of this nature, then she's going to struggle to win in the Western Cape. So this is her opportunity to find the winner's enclosure. you've got to be brave to take those short odds because there are others that are open to improvement. Number 5, Clever Candy. I've mentioned number 6, Louis Star. I don't trust the form behind Tap Shoes. All of those horses behind Tap Shoes had moderate form coming into that race, and then all of them showed sudden improvement. I'm referring to number 1, Blind Ambition, and I'm referring to number 4, Mersault. Those two both showed sudden improvement in what might turn out to be a rather moderate form line. So I'm going to sit on the fence with the Tap Shoes form line. 7 Sheets and Goggles for me, a clear-cut first choice. But given that number 6, Louis Star's actually beaten her in the past, if Louis Star was to rise to the occasion, I guess I wouldn't be totally surprised. One can expect a measure improvement from number 5, Clever Candy. She's only had the one run under the belt. But I think you have to be in the camp of number 7, Sheets and Goggles. This race, as I said, if she can't win this, she is going to struggle.
Well, you've answered my question because I wanted to ask you about number 1, Blind Ambition with the blinkers on last time out, but you did answer that with the reference to the form line behind Tap Shoes. So on to race number 4 now, Graham, which is the pick 6, and this has been impossible to catch in the Western Cape. Wow, it's a tough bet. We know that it's 6 races, but you can play a perm and it's all about structure. Maybe you can get it right on this Saturday, 1400 meters, maiden plate. Let's go for it and have a look at the field and give you some betting. Number 2, Dawn's Early Light is at 6-1. Number 3, My Archangel has been supported anti-post, the only horse that's been supported on the card for the Western Cape at the time of recording, which is a day earlier, 15-10 into 13-10. Then we got number 6, Gurkha, who I must admit that I expected a bit better than that fought last time out, but maybe still inexperienced, 5-2. And then horse number 8, Superhero. Well, ran second, but that was a well behind second. I'm referring to the winner there, Scottish Kiss from the Justin Snade stable. I think that won by 7.5 lengths. Yes, it did. And there have been runners from that form line already, 3 runners. It's not updated in whatever form guide you're using, but there are 3 runners already. I looked it up just to see, because the field was so well stretched out, Graham. I just wanted to see if anything has come out from that form, and 3 runners haven't placed. So we'll just have to wait and see if that form line does hold up with the debut run of Superhero. But Gurkha, I expected better last time out, Graham, from what I saw on debut.
I think definitely a touch disappointing, number 6, Gurkha, last time. I think stepping up to 1400 meters will be in the favor of this 3-year-old Son of Fire Away. Got a couple of links to find with number 3, My Archangel. My Archangel, as you say, has attracted anti-post betting support. Richard Faree teaming up with the Lucinda Woodruff stable. Now, Lucinda Woodruff has always mentioned that number 3, My Archangel, is a nice type and will win his races. Had his first start as a gelding, went second to Honor of Kings. And there's no reason to believe that Gurkha will bridge that 3 lengths gap. That's 3 lengths separate number 3, My Archangel, and number 6, Gurkha. But having said that, as you mentioned, Gurkha's only had the 2 runs under the belt and may appreciate going around the corner. Quite what to make of number 8, Superhero, I'm not quite sure. But clearly the Andre Nel stable is ticking along very nicely, and there can only be upside for the 3-year-old Son of Futura. So you've got to respect the chances of number 8, Superhero. Going an extra 200 meters will certainly be in his favor. 1, Tripping Thunder could place. Number 2, Dawn's Early Light could place. Now, you mentioned how hard it is to catch the pick 6 in the Western Cape in particular. Fortune favors the brave. Maybe number 3, My Archangel. Now, let me preface what I'm about to say by mentioning that in my suggested bipod, I've gone all of numbers 3, My Archangel, 6, Gurkha, and 8, Superhero, because I've banked the opening 2 legs, and my bipod perm is already only 54 rand. But the first half of this card may be where punters have got to capitalize on. So if you want to be brave, Then perhaps number 3, My Archangel, does shape up as a potential banker in the opening leg of the pick 6, mindful of the fact that both numbers 6 Gurkha and 8 Superhero can improve a lot off their recent runs. But My Archangel's got a lot going for him. Second runners are gelding, drawn in gate 3, Lucinda Woodruff in good form, Richard Faree in good form. So My Archangel ticks a lot of boxes. He's got 3 legs to spare over Gurkha on the evidence of their last run, but as you mentioned, Gurkha can improve from that. So there's one other potential banker in this pick 6, but then again, that race could turn out to also be a field race. We'll get to that in a moment. But so if you want to be brave and you're not scared to go out and you're happy to take your chances in the first leg and then perhaps concentrate on the jackpots thereafter, I wouldn't put you off bankering number 3, My Archangel. I think you're going to get a very, very good run for your money from the 3-year-old son of Socrates. But there are clearly dangers.
Well, there are different permutations that are taken by racing fans, and some where they banker. Then in the next they will cover. Maybe that's some food for thought in leg number 1 of that pick 6. You can play it 2 ways. Race number 5 is Jackpot 1. It's over 1,600 meters. And I see it's celebrating Centurion member Monty Governor's birthday. And Monty Governor, well, from the time I can remember joining the racing fraternity, I've been introduced to Monty Governor, and I'm sure Graham, who's now based in the Western Cape, where Monty Governor is, knows Monty pretty well because he's owned a number of racehorses throughout his career. Number 1 is at 6-1, Graham. Horse number 3 is at 28-10. So is number 4 at 28-10. 7 at 11-2. 8 at 9-2. And horse number 9, Hampstead Heath, is at 8-1. Graham, very difficult race here. I don't know how you can try and narrow this down. With my rule, it has to be 4 runners, and I can't do that, so it has to be a field race for me.
Certainly looks that way, a very evenly matched race. Firstly, a quick word from my side about Monty Governor. Certainly one of the gentlemen of racing, a super human being. Now, back to the race. 9 runners. Not much to choose between Give Me That Pearl, Call Me Jetrix, Fun Zone, and Fatal Gem. They met on the 5th of November, and you could throw a blanket over them, so they're all going to be competitive, although I'm not sure that it's in Fun Zone's favor that they go the extra 200 meters here in the 1,600-meter contest. The 2 runners that interest me, One Whistle the Tune. Last 5 starts have all been in feature races, including the Grade 1 Cape Fiddies Guineas, where she wasn't disgraced when 6 1/4 lengths behind Fatal Flaw, who won emphatically. Whistle the Tune is drawn in gate 1 and drops in class here, so watch for a better effort from her. And then Princess Izzy, last 2 runs in the Diana Stakes and the Summer Bowl, she didn't disgrace herself, and if you go back to her previous form in this sort of class, she ran 2nd to enemy territory and 2nd to knockout. So Princess Izzy is also going to be very competitive. So I'm in your camp. It's very hard to single out any particular filly in this race. I think it is a field race. I mentioned that there are some thin races and there are some very competitive races. This is certainly one of the very competitive races. It's a Class 3 handicap, fillies and mares over 1,600 meters, and each and every one of them has some claims to victory. Hampstead Heath maybe stepping up a little bit here in class, but she's very game and she's very consistent. So my each way play in the race, or roving banker, perhaps in a quartet, would be number 7, Princess Izzy, despite the fact that she's got 61 kilograms on her back. Healthy respect for number 1, Whistle the Tune, who drops in class. But then, as I say, look at the form lines of Call Me Jetrix, Give Me That Pearl, Hampstead Heath, Fatal Gem. They're all very consistent. Epicleros returns from a colic operation, so she might just need this run. Kawakazi, with just 52.5 on her back, has to be respected. She could blow them all away if caught in the right sort of mood. So to sum it all up, Dees, I can't argue with you. This is certainly a field race as far as the jackpots and pick sixes are concerned.
Okay, that was Jackpot 1. Jackpot 2 now, Graham, is race number 6. It's over 1,400 meters. Number 1, Trippy Silk, is at 7-1. 2, Tsunami Warning, is at 4-1. Horse number 4 at 28-10. We got a scratching here. Number 8, Boundless Love. Number 9, Mohandas, at 5-1. 10, William West, is at 4-1. and 11 Lovers Lane is at 6-1. Graham, I had a good look at the form that most of these horses represent, and the one thing that's noticeable is that some horses are, up in distance, others are dropping in distance. Some have no form over the distance. We know that 1400 meters takes a particular type of horse to win over this type of distance. So, all things said, maybe Richard Fourie and Pit Botha could be the right way to go here with the son of Gimme the Green Light, horse number 4.
Here's where you're going to have nerves of steel. It's quite simple. It's either you banker number 4 King Viserys, who clearly has the best credentials, although limited, and this is a Class 5 handicap, although limited. If you judge him on his last couple of runs, then King Viserys brings the best credentials into the race. So I would never thought the day would arrive when I would say we're going to banker number 4 King Viserys, but it's a clear choice. You either banker number 4 King Viserys or you go the whole field. Obviously, the scratching of number 8 Boundless Love has made King Viserys' chance of winning a lot greater, because he was certainly improving nicely and could have been competitive in a race like that. But that's academic. 8 Boundless Love is scratched. I can't. Once you look past King Viserys, it's very, very hard for all of the reasons you've mentioned. The one horse I will keep an eye on is number 1 Chippy Silk. His last 3 runs have been very, very disappointing, but he drops down in class now to Class 5. Previously as high as Class 3, many opportunities in Class 4. He hasn't put his act together. Could he suddenly improve from gate 1 for Sean Veal and Candice Bass Robinson? Certainly. Tsunami Warning is the second favourite here, and his last 3 runs have been very moderate. So my money, I'm nailing my colours to the mast here. Banker number 4 King Viserys. I'm going to, as I say, strengthen up my nerves, because it is a Class 5. These kind of races produce upset results. But unless you go the field, it's virtually impossible to pinpoint where that upset result might come from. So it's a clear-cut choice of, depending on how you structure the other legs, you banker number 4 King Viserys or you go the field.
We're with you. Number 4 King Viserys. Race number 7, 1400 meters. And again, we're celebrating another Centurion member, and this time it's Wayne Kieswetter's birthday over this 1400 meter trip. And this name, Kieswetter, we know, a big part of South African horse racing now. So all the best, Wayne Kieswetter. 1400 meters, number 1 Major Master, even money. 2 Keriaku at 3-1. And there's just one other horse in single figures, Graham, and it's number 4, Commanding at 6-1. Double figures the balance. I suspect, listening to you earlier on about a possible other banker on the card or wide, you were referring to this race?
No, I wasn't. I was actually referring to King Viserys.
Okay.
Because that's the key horse on the day for me. King Viserys is definitely the key horse. But this race, this Class 4 handicap, I'm not looking for an upset. I think the betting has got it right. I'm happy to row in with a 3-cornered contest of numbers 1 Major Master, 2 Keriaku, and 4 Commanding. Commanding and Keriaku both represent the Garrick's form line. Keriaku ran 3rd and Commanding ran 2nd. Now that was a sudden return to form for number 4 Commanding. So I'm really looking to see if he can now that he ran a better race last time, can find some consistency. So number 4 Commanding for me, obviously of the 3, perhaps the less preferred. I'm expecting Keriaku, with the services of Richard Fourie from gate number 2, to perhaps finish ahead of Commanding, despite the fact that it was the other way around when they ran 2nd and 3rd behind Garrick's. Major Master, very promising post-Maiden run. He won his Maiden 2 runs back when beating Rich Folks Hoax, and then followed that up with a nice 4th behind Gentleman Joe, beaten a shade under 2 lengths over 1,600 meters. He steps back to 1,400 meters. That was the distance over which he won his Maiden. That was at Hollywoodbets Hollywoodbets Durbanville, but I have to be honest. I think even money's a little skinny. I would prefer to be in the camp of number 2, Kariaku. He's 2 years older than Major Master. He's a lot more experienced. Yes, he's got to give 3 kilograms away to Major Master, but he's still 2 kilograms better off than at weight for age terms. So for me, I put number 2, Kariaku, at the top of my selections, ahead of number 1, Major Master, number 4, Commanding. But all 3 for me go into the play. I'm happy to make this a 3-cornered contest as far as the exotics are concerned. There's obviously always the potential, as we've seen all around the country, but also particularly here in the Western Cape in these class handicaps, that there could be an upset. But I'm happy to row in with the 3, and I think we'll get through nice and safely.
Okay, some confidence with those 3 runners for the exotics there, 1, 2, and 4. But Graham siding with Kariako as the value in the race of those 3 runners. We move along to race number 8, where we'll close off Jackpot 1 over 1,200 meters. And this is how they got them priced up. Number 1, Ticket to Vegas at 6-1. 2, All the Boys I've Loved is at 3-1. Number 3, Babylicious at 5-1. 5 is a scratching at the time of recording. 6, at the George is at 8-1. 8, Festival Chic at 4-1. And we got one more runner, number 10, Hope Chest at 5-1. Well, you'll be a big help here, Graham, if you can try and narrow this down as well, because it's 3-1 the field. And I personally think that the right horse is at 3-1. And come race time, it wouldn't surprise me if she starts shorter. Number 2, All the Boys I've Loved.
Nice filly. She's shown terrific potential. She's only had the 3 starts. She won on debut, beating Catch a Penny. Catch a Penny has yet to frank that form line. From her perspective, Catch a Penny has been consistently placed since, but has yet to find the winner's enclosure. I think this is a very nice race. I think the key horse in the race, I have huge respect for number 2, All the Boys I've Loved, and he's clearly one of those on the very short list. But the key horse in the race could be number 3, Babylicious. Has, I guess, been a little disappointing, but I like the fact that the blinkers go on for the first time in her career. I think that she's got more to offer. She's a lovely daughter of Va, and for me, she may well prove to be one of the leading contenders here. But if you like number 3, Babylicious, then you've got to like number 8, Festival Chic, because there's not too much to choose between them. You know, as far as Festival Chic is concerned, I think you've got to ignore the run in the Western Cape Fillies Championship back in this class. In a penultimate start, she beat Scarlett McCall, came out to run second in the Cape Fillies Guineas behind Fatal Flaw. And so that was a very, very good win over Scarlett McCall. Both of those all of her last 3 runs have been over 1,400 meters. It might not be in her favor that she steps back to 1,200 meters, but there's no doubt in my mind that number 8, Festival Chic, has a touch of class and will be in the mix. Interesting runner is number 10, Hope Chest. Straight out the maidens into the Grade 1 Cape Fillies Guineas. Not surprisingly, she was a no-show that day at huge odds, but I think that was a big leap of faith for number 10, Hope Chest, to step out of the maidens into the Grade 1. She's back in the sort of class where she can make her presence felt. She beat Tuscan Romance over this track and trip in November, so you can't lightly discard the chances of number 10, Hope Chest. So the short list would be numbers 2, All the Boys I've Loved, 3, Babylicious, 8, Festival Chic, and 10, Hope Chest. I'm certainly including all of them. And if you're going to throw them all in, then why not also include the year-older Ticket to Vegas, who's been runner-up in her last 2 starts? Because all of the others are 3-year-olds, and we still see, I know that we're moving through the calendar year and through the season, and the 3-year-olds are getting stronger and getting closer to the 4-year-olds. But there still have been examples in recent meetings where the promising younger 3-year-olds have been put in their place by the older horses. So I would also throw in number 1, Ticket to Vegas. Now, I don't know how that fits in with your, particularly in view of the scratching. We've only got 9 runners left. I'm going to include all of numbers 1, Ticket to Vegas, 2, All the Boys I've Loved, 3, Babylicious, 8, Festival Chic, and 10, Hope Chest. Of those, my marginal preference would be for number 3, Babalicious. But it's a good race. I'm expecting a close finish. I'm not underrating the chances of number 2, All the Boys I've Loved. And as you mentioned, as we approach race time, the on-course betting could be a valuable guide.
Well, that's 5-1, number 3, Babalicious Graham. So that could be a nice find for the other bets that will be on offer in race number 8, which could be a roving banker in your quartet or your trifecta, and certainly an exacta inclusion, number 3, Babalicious. So I have been doing the in-running pick 6 for the guys as a guide, Graham, and up to this point, which is 5 legs of the pick 6, I will inform you that our cost thus far is 135 Rand. So we got some leeway here in race number 9 if we want to go as wide. In fact, we can go as wide as possible and then possibly take a percentage. But it's the numbers that you've given that I've jotted down. So let's see how you're going to go in race number 9, Graham. The betting has it like this. We bring up the field. Number 3, Bluff on Bluff at 5-1. 5, One Liner at 5-1. 6, All About L at 5-1. Then we got number 9, the US of A at 8-1. 10, Exclusive Winter is at 7-1. And 11, Rafa Bay at 8-1. Double figures the balance. So Graham, I've given you the number just as a guide, so you'll know, exactly how much you want to spend as the skeleton perm, the in-running perm, as I call it. It's sitting on a 135 Rand going into the last leg.
Well, this is certainly the toughest race on the card, as the betting suggests. They're betting 5-1 the field. It is a Class 4 handicap over 1,100 meters. Chances too many, but let's try and whittle it down. In card order, I don't think you can ignore number 2, Fort Red. We never do. He's in double-figure odds. Impumi Joker gets a nice tune out of him. I think he found the 1,000 meters a little quick for him last time out and was found wanting in the closing stages. But if you judge him on his previous run, we're nearly surprising at 33-1, getting close to Arctic Wizard. So let's throw in number 2, Fort Red. You have to include number 3, Bluff on Bluff. He's run 4 times over the 1,100 meters. He's been second on 3 of those occasions. He's holding form nicely. Number 5, One Liner. Could be interesting. He won on debut. That was way back in June on a soft track at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth over 1,000 meters. He's only had 2 subsequent starts, but he's done enough to suggest he certainly can get into the fray here. Number 6, All About L. What you see is what you get. You'll get a good, honest run from him. I think although that number 7, Night Tiger, sprung up at a big price last time out, and is not necessarily always consistent, I do think that in this class of race, you've got to consider him again. And then number 10, Elusive Winter. Elusive Winter is interesting because he bounced back with a very good win at big odds when holding out Tanango last time out. That was over 1,000 meters. He was starting to come up for air in the closing stages after showing a ton of pace. That was his first run with blinkers. He's fitted with blinkers again. Gareth Wright retains the ride. So you can expect number 10, Elusive Winter, to be going out there in full cry in the early stages. Whether he'll get home over the 1,100 meters under 61 kilograms, only the race will show. So for me, those that I've mentioned are the ones that I would be happy to go with into the final leg of the pick 6. The only surefire way of surviving this leg would be to include the whole field, because there are 1 or 2 that could improve suddenly. But I always try and whittle it down. Perhaps you want to add to that number 9, the US of A, because he has shown some promise, but we haven't seen him since May. And quite frankly, the form of his maiden win when beating Einstein really hasn't worked out that well. But if you're going to go wide in the last leg, you don't want to be leaving Richard Perry out of your permutation. So perhaps also include number 9, the US of A. Can't be much help in this closing race. My top choice, hard to work that out. I would go with perhaps number 3, Bluff on Bluff, purely on the basis of consistency. And if the track bias that we saw so evident last week at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth is still in play, then it does your chances no harm to be drawn in gate number 3. Watch out for a much better run again from the enigmatic Fort Red, who could spring a surprise at nice big odds.
Okay, Graham has tried to narrow things down for us. 2, 4, 6, 7 runners. He's on the mark. 15 runners at the time of recording. He's gone less than half the field there. Graham, I'm going to read this out. It's called the in-running pick six. It is something that's just done. It's not planned. And it's just a guide for you, the valued racing fan, if you are playing the pick six on the day. So listen up. It's 3 a banker, my Archangel in leg number 1. Then the field multiplied by 9 runners at the time of recording. King versus a banker, that's number 4. So 3 a banker by field by banker 4. Then in leg number 4, it's numbers 1, 2, and 4. In leg number 5, numbers 1, 2, 3, 8, and 10. And closing off this pick 6 will be 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. And the cost of that, just a quick calculation, 122 Rand will give you 10%. But you can add and subtract to Graham's numbers with that in-running pick six. Graham, over to you. Your choice of bet you mentioned was the Bipot.
Yeah, the Bipot starts in race 2, due off at 13:10. We commence with the banker number 7, Song to the Moon. Then banker number 7, Sheets and Goggles. You can also then, if you wish, to banker number 3, Mike Archangel. I wouldn't put you off that, but I've included 3, 6, and 8. The next leg, the toughest, I've got numbers 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 9. Then banker number 4, King Viserys, who's one of the key runners on the day. We're hoping he can pull it off in this class 5. Always brave to single out a banker in a class 5 handicap, but quite frankly, the balance don't add up to very much. The last leg, numbers 1, Major Master, 2, Kariaku, and 4, Commanding. That's a 54 Rand Bipot per.
Graham, before we say goodbye to you, I've mentioned to all the other guys, I haven't done a show for you leading into Christmas. Just from the valued racing fans out there and Gallop TV, thank you for your valuable time throughout the year and your efforts and your input on these shows. It is much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Dees, and once again to all of our listeners, compliments of the season, and we wish you, by the way, the weather promises to be outstanding at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth tomorrow. A nice, hot, sunny day, so the right place to be is at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, and we look forward to welcoming in 2025 and obviously the renewal of the Lawman's King's Plate, which is going to be a real highlight in just about a week's time.
Graham, all the best with that recovery and rehab, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon on the golf course.
And on the racetrack, Dees, all is going well. Thanks very much for your good wishes.
Okay, as we say goodbye to Graham Hawkins, we wish you, the valued racing fan, well. You're armed with as much information as possible, provided by Graham Hawkins. All we need now is for that winning perm to fall into place, be it the Bipot or that in-running pick six, and whatever bets you are taking. Have a blast, find all the winners, and hopefully it turns out to be a wonderful day for you if you are racing at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. From the entire team, Graham Hawkins, Gallop TV, myself, Dees Dine, and until we meet again, you take care. Salanika Ashle.